The agenda, a little bit about me, the types of real estate careers, a path to becoming a realtor, real estate agent, the realities of being in real estate, traits and skills that you need to be successful at this job, and advice that I give to my younger self. Okay, so I have an undergraduate degree from the University of Wisconsin, and then I got my MBA from DePaul University part-time while working full-time it took about 3 years, from my mid-20s to my late 20s. Prior to real estate, I had, 4 or 5 jobs in corporate marketing, everything from managing and marketing a showroom at the Merchandise Mart, which was one of my first jobs, all the way to working actually for an online education company about 20 years ago, which was way ahead of its time. Got into real estate about 19 years ago, I'll say, and I was just tired of the corporate grind. I was getting relocated from the city to Deerfield to Naperville while having kids, and I felt like I really had no control over my own life. I was getting a little bored. So I just decided I'm gonna get my license, and I got my license while I was still working in corporate America, and about 6 months before, and then made the transition into real estate. Let's see, and then about 9 years ago, I built a team, and then it sort of evolved and morphed, and last year I brought 3 new team members on. I'm originally from Highland Park / Highwood. I have been in Glenview with my family here for about 20 years. I am the daughter of immigrants, and English is my second language. My parents are from Italy. And I am married to a Ukrainian gentleman, Alex, and obviously he is an actual immigrant. English was his second language. And back in the day, that long time ago, there was no ESL. You had to figure it out. So school was always a struggle for me. I just kept plowing through, and what would take someone an hour might take me 3 hours, because I had various issues that we probably didn't even realize, right? And didn't have, now you guys have a lot more resources, which is amazing. But why am I telling you this? Because I think having that experience at a young age really just made me continue to try and just keep going regardless. Let's see. Oh, so I have 4 kids. Very important. One of them is here, Tasha. Tasha and Tev Logli are my twins. They're juniors now at GBS. Tessa Logli graduated in 2021. She is on her second gap year and might be going to school in the fall, hopefully. And then Taya Logli is a junior at the University of Vermont. All GBS, well, 2 of the 4 so far, GBS graduates. And our kids have all gone through the schools here from day one. And I already told you my husband's from Ukraine. Yeah. So that's just a little bit about me and my background and what I come from. So there's a commercial real estate broker which focuses on leasing large commercial properties like the Glen or strip malls or big apartment buildings. And I'll get into it a little bit later, but the requirements for being a commercial real estate broker are exactly the same as a residential real estate broker. There's real estate developer. So that's like a developer that, for example, develops the Glen, right? The Glen was a naval air base, and someone took it over, the J. Paul Beitler company, and developed the Glen. Then you have your property manager. So they're involved in more of the nitty-gritty with managing large condo apartments, complexes, and potentially also like smaller associations. But they do everything from renting, collecting rent, to repairs, and just maintaining buildings. Then you have a real estate analyst, which they're basically, they assist in analyzing and helping people make decisions on real estate investments on a large scale. Then you have a residential real estate broker, which is what I do. So I help people buy and sell single-family homes, condos, multifamily units, and townhomes. And I mostly work with the individual families that are looking to buy residence. And as I said before, the requirements for commercial a broker is the same as a residential broker. So the career paths. When I started in real estate, there was really almost non-existent a real estate degree, in an undergraduate degree. Now you guys have the opportunities to get a real estate degree if that's something you want to do. There's not a ton of universities that offer undergraduate real estate degrees. like Denver University, actually my alma mater, University of Wisconsin-Madison offers, Berkeley, NYU. So there's a handful now within their business schools that offer real estate degrees. It's not necessary though to become in any regard. Maybe a real estate analyst might require more of a degree versus a residential or commercial. So and again, 75 hours to pre-license work, not very expensive, $350 to $650. Now they offer a lot of online options. You have to pass a national exam. You could take the exam up to 3 times. I fail it twice, and the third time, I had to take it a couple of times. I think I took it twice before I actually passed. And you have to have a license in the state in which you want to practice, kind of like law. So if I wanted to sell houses in Wisconsin, I would need to get licensed in Wisconsin. Right now I'm licensed in the state of Illinois. You have to have a managing broker that holds your license. So for me, that's at Properties. It's oftentimes a larger company like Coldwell Banker or Compass or Remax, and the managing sponsoring broker holds your license, makes sure that you are in compliance with state laws and continuing education as well, and oftentimes they provide offices for you to go and actually work, and then some guidance and some education and mentoring. It sort of depends on which one you land and how much they actually help you through the process. You have to apply to receive your real estate license through the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Services. That's not a very expensive cost. You have to carry insurance, so errors and omissions insurance. We could get sued if things go wrong within a real estate transaction, so we carry insurance, and that's about $1,000 to $1,200 a year. And every 2 years, you do have to complete continuing education to keep your license. And then, as I had said before, it's the same requirements for a commercial broker. So I could sell commercial real estate. There's nothing stopping me from that other than not really having the experience. So there's pros and cons to a real estate career. There's low barrier to entry. As you saw, you have to be 18 years old. So if you guys are anyone's 18 in this room, you could go and start studying and get your real estate license tomorrow. The requirements, there's maybe a $2,000 investment up front to get all of your licensing and examinations and all of that. So it's a very low barrier to entry. And there's unlimited potential in earning. Basically, I can make $50,000 a year, I can make $500,000 a year. That's really up to me. There is no ceiling, which is very appealing to a lot of people, right? I am self-employed, so even though At Properties is my managing broker, I still am self-employed on a 1099. There are tax benefits to that, being able to write off cars and client lunches and things like that. So I am my own small business, if you will. I don't report to anybody. I only really report to myself. Now, if I break the law or do anything unethical, of course, my sponsoring broker At Properties would be getting involved. But for the most part, I am my own boss. So it's an opportunity for advancement. I think within your organization, you could sit on boards. There's a lot that I can do. I'm part of the Glenview Public Library Foundation Board. Now that my kids are a little bit older, I'm hoping to be able to really do more philanthropic work as well. And it sort of doesn't really fall within the real estate umbrella, but because I am my own boss, I can make time for these things very easily. It is a very fulfilling career. That's why I do it. I really love it. I love people. I love helping people through this enormous process and stress. One of the biggest assets that they're ever going to buy in their house, which is your home, right? Unless you're going to go buy a yacht, which not very many people do that. Buying a house is your biggest purchase of your life. And I love that aspect of it, in that I also get to meet really, really cool people. I'm constantly meeting amazing families and individuals of all walks of life. Everything from, my immigrants that have moved here from the Middle East, buying, a small condo in Glenview, all the way up to them then upgrading to a giant home somewhere in Glenview, or everything in between. Most people on average move every 7 to 10 years. So when I work with clients, my goal is always to be their realtor and real estate agent for life. And it's never boring. There's never a boring moment. Nothing's ever the same Every deal is different, every family is different, every need is different. It's never the same. And it's always evolving. Now we're really big into the digital marketing, right? Back when I started, that wasn't a thing. Everyone had like postcards and newspaper ads and things like that. And now it's all digital, so it's ever evolving. Some of the barriers is there's a high barrier to success. So 87% of all realtors step out of the business within the first 5 years. It's hard because you don't get a paycheck. You can't rely on that money coming in. So when I got my license 6 months prior to actually quitting my corporate job, I had 6 months of savings stashed so I could draw from it, because you're not getting paid and you're not getting a paycheck out the gate. You only get paid when you sell a house. If it falls apart, you don't get paid. So I work for free until we close on a house. And there's lots of things that can happen from point A to getting an actual paycheck, right? Income is very inconsistent. There could be some months that I make a lot of money and then a couple months where I bring in no money. So it's also seasonal. Here in the Midwest, typically the biggest and strongest selling months are from March to June, and it's tied to the schools, right? If 50% of the people or 60% of the people that are purchasing homes are buying during the school, to get into the school year for the summer, that you're backing that out, so they're looking and purchasing homes in the spring and early summer in order to be able to start their kids in those schools, say in August, in August. Nobody's holding you accountable, so if you want to lay around and watch Netflix all day, and you can. No one is telling you need to be at the office at 9, you need to do this, you need to do that. You can blow off appointments if you want. Like, you have to be your own self-motivator and really, put some structure into your day, because there's nobody that's saying to me, hey, Vittoria, how come you didn't do this? Or how come you weren't working at 9 a.m. and you started at 10? I can do whatever I want. I can also work till midnight and I do work sometimes, 18 hours a day, but I love it and I don't really see it as work because I really love what I do. There's limited training and mentoring. That's the one thing that's really challenging. It's changing a little bit. Now, of course, if you're a part of a team, there's a ton of training and mentoring. At Properties does a great job at training their agents, and they have a full program. You don't have to do it if you don't want, but it's kind of like you learn by doing, right? The more you do, the more you learn. Because there's so many nuances to this business, it's impossible to learn it all in one shot. I would say it probably takes 8 to 10 years of doing this full time to truly know what you're doing. There's no one handing you business. So I have to get my own clients. I go to open houses, I do networking, I do marketing. No one is saying, hey, Vittoria, here's a person that wants to buy in the Glen. It's very rare that my company will do that. Once in a while, if they know that someone's moving here from out of state and they need someone because they're specifically looking in Glenview and they want an expert, they might come to me and say, hey, we have this client through relocation, would you please help them? But it's very rare. My clients all come from the work that I put into attracting and getting them. And you need to hustle, because if you don't hustle and you stay in bed and watch Netflix all day, you get $0. It can be kind of lonely. That's part of the reason why I actually started a team. It can be lonely and you have no backup. So if I decide to take a vacation for a week and clients need something and I'm not here local in Glenview, I have to have somebody to back me up. The reason why it's lonely is because anybody that's working in your office and any other realtor, they're your competition. They're your competition. They're going for the same clients, the same sellers, the same buyers. So now, At Properties really fosters a collaborative environment, which I really appreciate, but the person sitting in the office next to mine is my competitor. So, sometimes people will keep things to themselves and not really have that sort of collaboration. In my industry, not really. I rely on my own self, and yes, I have a managing broker that can help me through things, but for the most part, I'm on my own. And weekends, that's when people are available to go see houses, right? There's a little bit more flexibility now because everyone is able to work from home, or not everyone, majority of people now have flexibility because of the pandemic of working from home and doing things like that. So there's a little more flexibility, but for the most part, people want to see houses on evenings and weekends. But that also means that I don't have to be anywhere necessarily at 8 a.m., on a Thursday. So So there is flexibility, but your evenings and your weekends aren't really your own if you want to be successful at this job. Traits, high EQ, you have to really understand people, you have to be driven, self-motivated, self-disciplined, resilient. There's a lot of, you get a lot of doors slammed in your face in this job, so you really have to have resilience. You have to be trustworthy. This is the biggest purchase anyone is going to make, and they need to trust that you're going to guide them. Flexibility and adaptability, this is a ever-changing career, constantly evolving. Attention to detail is super important. Contracts, houses, just understanding clients' needs. So really having an attention to detail. Marketing skills, again, ever evolving. They're constantly changing. Strong communicator and problem solver. And then finally, you have to be a really good negotiator, and that comes with time and practice. Advice that I'd give to my younger self: you don't have to have it all figured out in high school. What I wanted to be at the age of 18 was I wanted to work in banking. Then at 25, I wanted to get my MBA and do marketing, and I did that. Now, would I have ever thought that I was going to be a real estate agent when I was 18 years old in high school? Absolutely not. That's just the way my career evolved. Most people have, on average, 5 to 7 careers in their lifetime. You don't have to have it all figured out now, and that's okay. You always need to be growing as a person, and grades and test scores really don't matter later in life. I know they do right now, and it's very important, but just sort of a global perspective, they really don't matter later in life. And I have a motto that I work super hard, but I also play really hard. And I really try and take time off and spend time with my family and enjoy life as well. And I love this quote from Aristotle: "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit." So, thank you.